Hi everybody, welcome to the Eco-Friendly Vanta. This video is going to be about a lot of things, but first off, it will be about a message that I got to be shared. I have to mention it that Osho, the teacher, his energy is very strong around me for some reason. And I'm being told if there's anybody who's watching this, and if you are listening to any teaching of his, because I don't know many of his teachings. I I'm not really aware of most of his teachings. I don't know. Um, that particular teaching is helping you, whatever you're listening to, whosoever you are, and if it's really helpful, then I would recommend that you comment and please let us all know as well, so that we may also benefit if you are the person whom this message is for. Because I think whoever is listening to this particular message, maybe you are confused or like if you should relate to it or not. I would recommend use your discernment, but that teaching will be good for you anyway. Coming to the message for this particular video, the card that I got is the yoke. You can see this. If you've seen bulls, I'll add a photograph. They have yokes around their neck, right? And there's this example in Buddhism which says that if there's a planet and that planet is entirely covered with water, there's no land, nothing at all, no human being, nothing at all. There's just one turtle on that entire planet. Okay, and that one turtle comes once in a while to the top on the surface of the ocean. Okay, and there is an empty yolk that is floating on the ocean. Okay, they say the chances of that turtle putting its neck into the yolk, just imagine how few those chances are. Anyway, they say even those chances are much higher than you getting a precious human rebirth. Okay, this is just to emphasize how important this human rebirth is, to clear your patterns, to realize the nature of reality, to um, own everything if you must, but not let anything own you. The concept that was coming to my mind to explain all of this is tulpa, or pendulums, and not the pendulum that we see in physics lab, the metal pendulum, not that, but energy pendulums, pendulums which are formed by us, our collective, no, the group thinking. This concept was introduced by Vadim Zeland. He is a physicist. I have not read the book entirely, but this particular concept has helped me immensely because I've noticed this happening in my own life over the years, even when I didn't know about the concept. Many of you might have noticed that the moment your reality is about to change, the moment you are about to ascend, let's say you start a sadhana or you start a beautiful creative project, something that you're very passionate about, something that you love a lot, you want to do something about. Even when you start a relationship or something or the other happens which tries to break away that relationship, break away your discipline, which tries to stop that sadhana. Even when you start eating healthy meals every day, going to gym every day, or anything, to be very honest. If somebody's sick, let's say you decide to take multivitamins every day, there will be this energy that will stop you from doing that. Okay, I'm giving very practical, very basic example. Or let's say you don't know, but your entire family has one particular collective belief. For example, your entire family believes that money doesn't grow on trees, or whatever you get after a lot of waiting. Let's say your father, mother, brother, sister, whatever, all of them have the same story, that they got their wishes, but they got after a long wait. So that wait is a given in your situation. You think that everything that comes to you comes after a lot of wait. It has become a belief. Similarly, there are a lot of beliefs. Okay, so when a lot of people, a group, a lot of people come together, or when you are around certain people who have similar kind of thinking, when they come together, they give too much energy to a particular kind of thought, which becomes an entity of its own. So when you have negative thoughts over and over again, when you fear something over and over again, when you hate something over and over again, all that hate, fear, anxiety, sorrow, grief, pride, malice, jealousy, every one of those things, they collect, and then they become an entity of their own. Even when you get out of a situation which was giving you all these feelings, okay, this particular entity, it kind of stays in your aura and then rules everything that you do. What if this happens? What if that happens? Basically, every single thing that's exhausting you, that's giving you more thoughts, that's keeping you in your head more than your heart. Okay, more grounded. By the way, to whoever experiences this, like if you know that there are these things that are happening to you, then this means that you also need more grounding, more nature. A lot of nature is needed maybe a walk in nature, just lying down on green grass, just like that. That would be great. So things like that. Anyway, so now coming back to Tulpa or pendulums, your family, friends, colleagues, social media, the kind of content you consume, the kind of pages you follow, and your entire algorithm, by the way, the kind of people who are in that algorithm, it tells what frequency you are on. And if you want to change your frequency, whether by shadow work or by sadhana or doing anything, you have to stop resonating with these pendulums. Okay, this pendulum, this separate entity, for example, there's a club or a party or a group. Okay, they meet together for a certain kind of talk. Let's say it's about hating some particular person. They meet together and all of them are constantly gossiping or hating about someone. Sometimes there are kitty parties or things like that, and all those aunties are coming together and talking about their mother-in-laws, right? And the constant energy that is being created of is of hate, hate or gossip or whatever it is. Even if all those experiences are real, but the energy that is being created is that. So everyone, even those who do not have experiences like this, when they come into this group, they will start manifesting or having those same experiences, because this pendulum, which has an entity of its own, like now this is another person, okay, even if it's not visible, this energy, this ball of energy is a separate person, okay, who wants more and more people in its cult, let's call it that. So what will happen is, this particular person who is not having bad experiences with the mother-in-law, she'll also start having these experiences, so that next time when she comes, she can relate to this. And even on your social media, you might have observed that there are certain posts, certain particular kinds of posts which attract you, whether good or bad. But here we are talking about things which are in your shadow. Okay, see which post incites anger in you, violence in you, anger, malice, jealousy, grief, too much sorrow. Okay, I'm not stopping anybody from activism. It's not bad. It is important. Activism is very important in present world, and everyone should be involved in it in one way or another. But when you make your entire identity about it, then make sure that you are part of the solution and not the problem. If you're not offering solutions, despite being in that particular group which is constantly discussing the problem, then maybe you need to change that group. Okay, be a part of the group which offers solutions and actually does something for that particular problem. Okay, let this political aspect be aside for a while. Let's say if there's war, okay, or some kind of fight happens somewhere, a lot of people, they see that post and start giving it energy. A lot of energy is going, and that incites anger in you, and you also start pouring in that energy. You put in that energy. Let's say that post is about a certain community, okay, or a particular person. Whether or not you've had better experiences or good experiences with that particular person or community in your life, this pendulum, which is built with hate, it will try to give you fear, anger. It'll try to tell you that whatever you believe in is wrong. Believe in this particular belief system, which keeps your vibration low, which prevents you from ascending. And you, in turn, despite all your personal experiences, will start feeding it. Even when you like the comments, even when you like the post, it is creating karma, and it is entangling you even more in the cycle. Okay, this is why you have to be very mindful of how you use your social media. What kind of comments are you leaving? What kind of comments are you liking? Because all of that is affecting you here and here. And even when that community or the person is not hostile towards you, you'll observe that you'll start manifesting experiences which are actually akin to the experiences that you are liking, whether or not you've had those kind of experiences before. Because that is what the pendulum does. It wants more and more people towards it. Second is that it stops you from being in flow, from surrendering. Why? Because pendulum is built on control. It wants you to control everything, wants you to control outcomes. And when do you want to control outcomes? When you cannot surrender. And all this, and whatever I have been speaking, all this happens because you also have some kind of energy within you which is getting attracted to that pendulum. Because if you did not have anything that attracts you to that pendulum, you will not go and become a part of it, even if subconsciously. No, you'll just be away. It will not have any hold on you. So first thing is that you have to see what kind of belief system exists among your peers, in your family, um, on your social media, in your algorithm primarily. Okay, list them down. What are those belief systems which you also subconsciously agree to, whether or not you've had a chance to show that belief, no, or put it into practice? What are those beliefs? Is it against somebody? Is it for something? No, see what kind of belief system that is, because until and unless you come into complete equanimity, where you are able to see the dance of Maya as is, these things happening as they are happening, and you just being a witness of it, as if all of these things are happening on a screen, you will not be able to start your shadow work. You will not be able to understand a lot of things that we're going to talk in Tara series, by the way. Now, coming to the reasons why many people get attracted to these things, or why, or we, let's say, find ourselves stuck in particular beliefs, pendulums, or attracted to these pendulums, caught by these pendulums. Sometimes some of you might have noticed that the moment you think something good is about to happen in your life and you're very excited, something bad happens. Okay, you have to see where that belief is coming from. Who was the first person, maybe in your family, or did you hear it on social media? How? Because that is a collective belief. Okay, that is a collective belief, but it also has to be within you for you to be so controlled by it that it affects your reality, your timeline, if you're getting my point. Because the moment you start to see it as is, that it is their belief, no, it is a pendulum. I don't believe in it, even if it was a parent or a grandparent or your entire family who believes this, or entire friend group or community or whatever. You have to stop resonating with these things. You have to see what is something which is creating fear in you, fear, anger, again, these lower level emotions. I'll add a chart which can tell you the frequencies of all emotions, so you can see the emotions which are on the lowest edge of that list, and you can work on them. You can see the pendulums around you and you can work on them. Now, coming to the reason why these things happen. It happens because one wants to belong. Belongingness need is one of the most important needs of us as humans. Even animals, by the way. Everyone knows that little monkey Punch. It got really famous these days. Why? Because there was need for belonging in Punch's story. So this need for belonging, need for community, it is very natural. But you have to make sure that it is not at the cost of your own reality. This belief that forms, right, which says all fathers are like this, all mothers are like this, all women are like this, all yada yada yada. It can go to communities, it can go to animals or whatever, and then you keep on feeding that belief. They are like this, they are like this. Now every time you'll have an experience with the same, like a person from that same community or thing, that experience will also be the same, which will enforce that belief. Yeah, you were right. See, you were right. Your fear was right, your anxiety was right, your grief was right. Why? Because this entire matrix, again, I am using that word because a lot of people just get this word, but it's Maya, it's illusion. It is made like this. It does not want you to ascend. It does not want you to understand that it's not true. It wants you to stay in that lower realm, so to speak. That realm of constant competition, constant drive, constant ambition, to prove yourself. You don't have to prove yourself to anybody. If you want money, if you want abundance, want it for yourself, so that maybe you can do good things with it. You can donate well, you can create jobs. There's so much good that can be done with money, instead of just maybe showing it off to a friend. You get what I mean? So you have to see where all these wants and wishes they are coming from. What is their uh, root? When you had a particular desire, when you get a particular desire which rules your mind all the time, where is it coming from? If you have a particular thought which is in your head all day long, you have to see where it is coming from. Did your parent also have a relationship with their parent just like this? No, so you have to see if it has been passed down to you, generation after generation, and you are the one who has been chosen to recognize it and then cut away from it, from that belief, not the person. Or sometimes it's okay to cut away from the person as well, but you get my point. And you get out of the cycle by not reacting, by not feeding it. If someone believes that everything they do, it turns out wrong, or they do a lot of, let's say, prayers or part puja, it doesn't help, doesn't give them any result. As long as you'll keep on believing this, you'll keep on attracting people who will also tell you the same things. On the opposite or the contrary, you might also attract people who will trigger you even more because they are on the opposite end of it. So that thing will trigger you even more, and will worsen your belief in this particular thing that you believe in, which is keeping you trapped in the lower reality. So I have to see. And the moment you think that something is about to change in your life, okay, try to avoid people, places, things, situations, all those spaces, every single frequency that can keep you in that same cycle. For example, if you don't have a good relationship with your parent and you know that something good is about to happen in your life, but every time you talk to your parent, a fight happens. Try to stay back. Don't talk to that parent for a while. And even if that parent who has now become a pendulum on their own, or they are the ones who is controlled by a pendulum, let them be. Let them say whatever they want, let them do whatever they want for a while. Stay back, surrender, just witness. This is Maya making sure that you stay in this cycle. And the moment you do that, within few days or maybe a week, like you have to constantly do it, you have to constantly stop giving it energy, your reality will change. Trust me on this. Trust me on this when I say this. No, we have to stop giving things, people, whatever drives us out of the state of flow or surrender, a lot of energy. Anything that keeps the machinery of our head going, all thoughts are a waste. You don't have to think too much. Sometimes there are groups or places, the moment we go there, we get this negative energy. We know that we'll become irritated, or we'll become very angry, or we'll start behaving in a way which is not us. Sometimes it's with another person as well. That is your pendulum. You have to catch a hold of it and then stop reacting to it. Stop giving it energy. Let it dwindle wherever it is. And the moment you do that, you'll be free from it. If you're aware, there was this challenge called Blue Whale Challenge or something like this. Or I don't know, Pink Whale. I don't know what that challenge was. A lot of children committed suicide because of that game. Mass psychosis. An energy that keeps everyone in same kind of frequency. But what does that want? What does that energy want? It wants allegiance. It wants you to say you are right. It wants you to accept its hierarchy, whether or not it's visible. To lose your own mind. So many people join social media or dating websites or things like that because we've lived in a culture which has told you that you're incomplete if you don't have a spouse. You're incomplete if you don't have somebody. A woman is not complete if she doesn't have a child and things like that. Who said that? The society, the culture. And the moment one starts believing it, they become enslaved to it. And the first step to shadow work is not become a slave to anything like this. If you've seen the Swadhyay video, I would recommend each one of you, whosoever has listened up till here, to please go and watch Swadhyay video. The way you remove the layers which have been surrounding you ever since you were born, even since your past lives, how to get them out, how to study yourself. This is one way to study yourself, to see your pendulums, to see what are the things which stop you from ascending. They say that maybe in ancient Rome or Greece, I don't remember where, the king made sure that if people were at rest, people were calm in their feminine energy, which means open to receiving abundance, open to receiving blessings, open to receiving grace, to understanding others, to empathy, they'll ascend very quickly, and then they will not be good citizens. It will be very difficult to control them because they'll be freed from their mind. So what they did was have bullfights or fights or kind of competitions which kept them very aggressive, kept them fighting all the time, kept them in groups which fought one another, competed with one another, wanted to prove one another wrong. And the more energy of negativity that was created, lower they got on the ladder of spiritual progress. And the easier it was to control them because they did not have a mind of their own. The entire group, that group thinking, was controlling their mind, which is why it's so important to be mindful of what you consume, the kind of people that you sit and stand with, the kind of colleagues that you have, the kind of friends that you have. What are the prominent beliefs in your family? Does that need changing? Maybe you have incarnated to make sure that those beliefs are changed. How do you change this now? First thing, to see which beliefs are not yours but societies or others. Write them down on a paper and burn them. Okay, and write them down on a paper and or like overwrite. I will not follow these. I will not follow this shit. Write it and then burn it. It's an affirmation for yourself. Do it in this no gap. Like, don't try to fill the gaps in your life. Don't try to fill them. Learn to stay in that gap, in the pause, in not having something, in not knowing the direction, not knowing the next step, not knowing what is going to happen. It's fine. Do not belong, no, to just anybody, just for the sake of belonging, just for your need to belong. Don't do that to yourself. Be okay with being alone. Be okay with developing your independent thinking so that everybody you attract after that is aligned with you in any condition at any time. Please do not betray yourself. Do not do that. That is the pendulum. That is your pendulum. And it is so important to be you, to be original, even if it costs you your friendships or circles. I don't know. Even if it means just being alone for a while. Because the moment you align yourself with a frequency for a longer period of time, you'll start attracting people who will be on that vibe. And that will be your soul family, by the way. That will be the people who will support you, who will love you for who you are. They'll just be there because they understand you. And you don't have to have the same blood for that. Not needed. This world is a beautiful place, beautiful place, and they're beautiful humans, beautiful humans. So even if you don't have anything to hold or anywhere to belong, do not rush to belong. Okay, that safe zone will eventually become your danger zone if you don't resonate with their belief systems anyway. And if you are there just to have someone around you, don't do that. Then pranayam, pranayam, nadi shodhan, or any kind of breath work, good breath work, it will be a great help. Embrace silence. Try to sit in pause for a while, like every single day for at least 15 to 20 minutes. Sit alone. 30 minutes, sit alone, doing nothing, with all your gadgets off. No stimulation of your senses in any way whatsoever. Turn off the lights. Just you, your fan, and the ceiling and the bed. Just you and your thoughts, and observe those thoughts. I think it's in Dzogchen and also in Advaita, a lot of saints, they burn a lot of their karmas just with this seeing, observing the thoughts pass by, and realizing that most of, like, 99.999% thoughts were not even theirs. They were just clutter. In Hindi, we call it shore, dimagi shore. In English, it'll be nuisance that you have in your brain, which has been fed to you by the environment. So pranayam will help you with it. Breath work, somatic breath work, it'll help you with it. Pausing, amazing thing to do every single day. Then social media detox, you have to do it. Okay, after every couple of months or days, leave social media. Very important, especially when there is something happening in the world, like in some corner of the world, which is very tense, very sad. Yes, it's okay to support the people who are speaking up for something like that, which is very grave. Very important to give your support, lend your support in whatever way you can. If you're not able to help, if you're not able to offer any solution, do not engage too much into it. Do not do that. Do not do that. You're becoming a part of the problem instead of solution, because you are getting worried. You're putting even more fear, tension, anxiety on that pendulum, like into that pendulum, which already wants everybody to be scared, to not relate to it. Okay, for example, if you can support, let's say, financially, if you don't want to do that, then do a mala. Okay, but do not engage too much into it. If it's a person who is constantly at odds with you, constantly fighting with you, create distance. And if it is difficult, to create a distance, whether it's from social media or whatever, let's say if they live in your home itself, even then, try to do something which is so engaging that you're not in their ambit for a while. Or even if they are attacking, even if they are speaking, all those things, let them. Do not participate. Do not let anybody abuse you either, by the way. Okay, domestic violence and all those things are very serious. And when I talk about them, I do not remain my spiritual self. I start sounding like a lawyer. I don't want to do that here. But that is another thing. That is something that we are not talking about. I am talking about constant bickering, fighting over same issues, same things over and over again, things that happened 10 years in the past. And they somehow keep on coming up in your discussions over and over again. And every dinner ends up in a fight. Every time you have lunch together, it ends up in a fight. There's no date because there's fight. No, you have to stop that. Let them be. Let them keep on speaking about it for a while. The moment you stop giving it energy, the moment you stop taking it personally, we talked about people throwing stones at one another in previous video, that to make space for that stone, one has to give away the energy. That is how our energy gets wasted. When one cries, when one has trauma, or when one goes through a tough time, the energy gets wasted. It leaves your body. Okay, and these negative energies, they take home. They start making a space in your body. These stones start making a space and belief system in your body, which then manifests as diseases and all other kinds of problems that you can think about. So throw these stones out. Whatever they are saying is based on their own conditioning, their own belief systems, and it has nothing to do with you or your truth. Your truth has to be known, has to be found out only by you yourself. And don't let anybody tell you who you are. Then remove the emotional charge, like release the emotional charge to prove yourself right, to prove them wrong. It's not worth it. let's say there's a line, there's a queue where a lot of people are standing. They start pushing each other, they start abusing each other, fighting with each other, start cutting the queue, all of that. Okay, let's say this happens at an airport. Okay, because a flight got delayed or something, you might have seen this, everybody might have seen something like this, either at a station or somewhere at least. Okay, even at the banks. Okay, this happens, everyone starts fighting with each other, whatever, and then your turn comes, you do your stuff, and then you go back home. In the middle of it, what was the need for all this? How useless was all this? This pushing, and you are getting on the same train, you're getting on the same flight, you will get regardless, you will get on regardless. And it's pathetic when you think about it, how futile and useless this constant fighting is. Sometimes this fighting is within ourselves. These demons, they don't come from outside, we make them, and there's no other way than killing them here. And the moment they are killed here, and when you know that you have the power to kill them here, then the ones who are on the outside, they stop mattering at all. So I think this is where I'll end the video. I hope it has been useful for at least some of you, especially the one who's reading Osho. Please tell me, what are you reading? Because it's so random. And find your core, okay? Find your core, find your truth. Ask yourself who you are, what your true beliefs are, what are the things, what are the causes, what are the ideologies that you stand for. Not to belong, but something that you truly, truly believe in. And at the same time, always be aware that as a spirit, you're free from all this. As a soul, as self, you're free from all this. You don't have to belong anywhere, because you are that. You are in which all of this is happening. And this gap that you have, it is to realize your true nature. I would like to read from Ashtavakra Gita. This is the best book on the planet. Every single person on the planet should read it. But this line is very important. It says, neither caste and its duties, nor the different status of social life and their obligations can ever be predicated of the self. These are extremely helpful in the early stages of self-discipline for growth, for spiritual growth, as long as the seeker is still identifying with his mind and body. But the point is, at least come into complete awareness of your mind and body. You have to make sure that our mind and body are not under somebody else's control, whether it's an institution or a corporate or a pendulum or social media, friends, colleagues, whatever. Whatever we are doing because we want to do it. Whatever we are believing, we believe because we want to believe it, not because it's been taught to us. Okay, that is basically the message of this entire video. And then he says, as pure consciousness, you're not even perceivable. You're not even perceivable by either the sense organs or conceivable by the mind or the intellect, because your true nature is beyond all of this. Neither your mind nor your intellect. Nothing can know about it. Okay. When I was going through very dark time in my life, bhajan, it's called Manipuri Hare Krishna by a band called the Hanuman. It has helped me a lot. And in that, they speak this beautiful, beautiful poem by Hafiz. Okay, and it's been translated by Daniel Ladinsky, and it's called The Gift. And I believe and I hope that whatever I'm going to say is a gift for all of you. I'll give a couple of links in the description box below to further your understanding on pendulums and how these things work, and also to read this poem and listen to the hymn that I'm talking about. You'll love it if you want to, of course. Anyway, so it goes. You could become a great horseman and help to free yourself and this world, but only if you, in prayer, become sweet lovers. It is a naive man who thinks we are not engaged in a fierce battle, for I see and hear brave foot soldiers all around me going mad, falling to the ground in excruciating pain. You could become a victorious horseman and carry your heart through this world like a life-giving sun, but only if you and God become sweet lovers. Okay? So you have to know, what is it that you're standing for? What is it that you're believing in? Bye. Lots of love.